Okay, so Rogue Nation is the fifth Mission Impossible film, and of course it stars Tom Cruise, Rebecca Ferguson, Simon Pegg, Vince Vaughn, Alec Baldwin, and Jeremy Renner. Nearly forgot that one. And it's an amazing cast. This is the fifth Mission Impossible film. Yeah, there's five of these. The storyline is Tom Cruise is now on the run from the CIA. The IMF has been disbanded, and he's after a secret organisation called the Syndicate. And the Syndicate are like the opposite of the IMF. Is manipulating the world and doing evil, bad things. So how does this compare to the others? If I'm being completely honest, I was a little bit disappointed with this film. So we'll start with the positives first. Action in this film, phenomenal. It is amazing. The action's amazing. Tom Cruise again doing all his own stunts. I honestly think the action could be just as good as the action in Mad Max. Mad Max is probably a better film overall, but the action probably on par. I thought some of the fight scenes in the film were a bit too shaky, but it was still filmed well. It would cut to wide shots during the fight scenes as well. And it was all choreographed wonderfully with amazing stunt work. Tom Cruise is still amazing in this film. Obviously he brings so much physically to the scenes, doing all his own stunts. But his character acting's really good as well, and you still believe him as this awesome spy hero, Ethan Hunt. The film's also much more suspenseful, which a lot of people say the other Mission Impossible films were lacking, except the first one. That's still really suspenseful. Yeah, so they combine elements of the first film with its suspense and the action from all the other films, making this a pretty decent spy thriller. This suspense is really shown in my favourite scene in the film, which I won't spoil, but I'll just say it's set in Austria. This scene is really suspenseful, not really too much action in it, but then the finale of that whole scene just is a great little end to that sequence. And the suspense, and especially the sound design as well in that scene, is just done perfectly, but I won't spoil it. The action set piece is amazing. Obviously there's the plane stunt from the trailer. The sequence is incredible. Really awesome car/bike chase that is probably one of the better bike chases on film. There's a great underwater sequence as well, which is a great mix of action and suspense again. I'll go into more details where I found the film disappointing. So we'll start off with that plane stunt. Now, I don't want to spoil too much, but the plane stunt, although the sequence is really good and tense, it honestly has nothing to do with the storyline at all of this film. And for me, that felt like, like it felt like the audience were being cheated by the trailer, if that makes any sense. Compare this to the Burj Khalifa stunt from Ghost Protocol. So everyone saw that Tom Cruise was climbing the tallest building in the world in the trailer. Everyone saw that, but nobody expected the whole sequence in Dubai to be as enthralling and as tense as it was. The whole sequence in Dubai is incredible. Tom Cruise climbs the building for real, and it's amazing stunt work. And then we have that sequence where the team are trying to set up two fake arms deals at the same time, and then there's the chase through the sandstorm, and you see that stunt that was advertised to the people was relevant to the storyline as well as being an amazing stunt. And this airplane sequence, it honestly had nothing to do with the storyline. For me, it felt like it was just thrown in there as being the best stunt in the film. Like, oh, we need to top the stunt from the previous film, and then they filmed it and they went, oh, how are we going to fit this into the film? So, oh, we could just put it in there somewhere. And when watching the sequence, there is some great humour in that sequence as well, which I won't spoil. But then there's a moment where I thought, anyway, it was like, oh, another amazing stunt's coming, and then it cuts away, and I was left feeling like, oh, I felt like there was going to be more to that. As I said, the action in this film's great, but the main action sequences are in the first half of this film, and then the second half I felt was really boring, to be honest. Like, nothing happened. There was no action sequences that topped any of the ones in the first half of the film. There were a lot of conversational scenes with, you know, a bit of expositional dialogue, and, you know, it was really slow paced. In order to structure a good conversation scene, you shouldn't have just two characters talking about something. They should be doing something as well to keep the audience interested, or something needs to be going on in the background, or, you know, there needs to be something else that we're aware of. And there is one or two of those sort of conversational scenes towards the end of the film, which I won't spoil, but up until then, I honestly didn't remember it. I don't feel this film was as memorable as some of the other Mission Impossibles. I'll say now, I know a lot of critics are in love with this film and say that it's the best Mission Impossible, but I completely disagree. Like, I do think this is better than some of the Mission Impossible films. I'll say where I think this film belongs out of the 5 at the end of this video. A lot of people said that this was a great villain for the Mission Impossible series, and I think he was a better villain than the other Mission Impossible films, but I still didn't think he was great. I liked the syndicate, the company, and what they did. I thought that was really interesting and clever, and you know, they said it was the opposite of the IMF, which I thought was really cool. But the villain himself, he felt cliched, you know. He was British, of course. He wore glasses and didn't have big muscles like Tom Cruise does. And, you know, I didn't really understand his motivations, you know. He's a rogue agent, you know, the same character trope as the other Mission Impossible films. And he still just felt like a cliche villain to me, if I'm honest. I felt like Philip Seymour Hoffman is still the best villain for the Mission Impossible 3 film. However, this villain's probably like the second best. But the villains are never a strong point of the Mission Impossible films. I don't want to seem like I hate this film, because honestly I did enjoy it. It's a really fun summer blockbuster film, and, you know, there is enjoyment to be had here. The first half of this film, you know, I was on the edge of my seat. Great action, amazing suspense, but just the pacing of the film was lost for me. Like, at the halfway point, just, you know, I don't remember what happened. It was really forgettable. Dialogue was heavy towards the second half of the film, and you know, it wasn't well structured conversational scenes. The finale, there were some good, well structured conversational scenes, but it felt anticlimactic as to, you know, how they stopped the bad guys, and yeah, it felt a little anticlimactic to me. Like I said, I don't hate this film, and for it to be a 5th sequel and be decent, like, is the rarest of the rare. Like, I can't think of any good sequels that are the 5th one in the franchise. I don't think this was the best James Bond, but I don't think this was the best film out of the franchise, as a lot of people are saying. I would probably say Ghost Protocol and the first Mission Impossible were better than this film, and I'd probably stick it there in the middle of the 3, having 3 and 2 behind it. It's still a fun action movie. Like, I'd still recommend seeing it. You know, there's great action, but be warned, I felt that the second half of this film was really slow paced, and I would grade this film B-. It's my opinion, and that's what the internet's about, opinions. I've seen the reviews, and I know it's 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, and people are giving this film's A's and 10s out of 10s and 9s out of 10s, but I'm sticking with my guns and I'm gonna give it a B-. What do you guys think of Rogue Nation? I'm sure a lot of you love it. So you know, leave a comment, all that kind of stuff. Tell me what you think about the film, and thanks for watching. See you later.